Thanks for coming. Also, thanks to the Middle East Institute, right, for inviting me. I think this is the second talk of the series of 101 for Middle East Affairs. This is my first time, right? I'm very honored to be invited. Been doing this for the last 7 years, right? We operate more in Lebanon. At first, we went to Jordan to do our stuff, but I think in Jordan it's a little bit difficult, right, to enter the camps. So we switched to Lebanon, which almost has a free entry, so you can just go to any camp. But a little bit background about me, I'm 58, right? I've been doing this for 7 years. I don't park myself there. I goes there and come back. So every year we went twice, right, during Ramadan in May, and during winter time in November to January. So we just came back in June for Ramadan, and we are going again in November for winter aid. Right. I'm a counselor by profession. So you asked me, what is a counselor doing? Humanitarian trips, right? So I guess it's something that matters to me, right? In Singapore, we counsel those who are jobless, also homeless and divorced. So I think in the part of the Middle East, we have a lot of this category of people. Because they are displaced, right? I think that's a bit more difficult, right? So I have 68 slides. I promise that I'll cover it within 1 hour, and after that we will do a Q&A. Is it okay? Right. I promise you by before 7 or even 6:45 we can go. Right. I know some of you are tired. Right. Thanks for really coming to grace the occasion. Right. I'll go through the slides. Right. Some slides I will just skip by, and some I expound on it. Is that okay with you? Good. Okay, no one chooses to be a refugee, right? I think in this world, who wants to be a refugee? You're out of your own country, you're out of your comfort zone, and you have to go to a place like Lebanon, which no one respects you, and no one likes you to be in the country. So I guess these people have no choice, and I think they need some of our help. Okay, this NGO is termed Love Aid Singapore, right? We actually are very honored and proud to be, I think, the only Singaporean NGO in the Middle East. I think there are individuals that goes up once or twice, but I think we are the one that goes up often. This is like our 7th trip, and each trip we could receive about $40,000, right, $6. The last Ramadan trip in June, we received 40,000. That's actually our highest, right? It's not a lot, yeah. Actually, it's not a lot. Right. Yeah, we wish we have more money, we can do more, but 40,000 to me is the highest we can achieve, given our potential. We hope we can, get more, so we can do more. There's so much things we can do, but we are always limited by money, right? There's not enough money. Okay, why you do it? It's very personal, right? I think in Singapore, not many of us venture into Middle East, a very potentially very dangerous place to do humanitarian work. Singaporeans are accountants, doctors, they are businessmen, they want to make money. I mean, I need money, but I think at my age, probably a different kind of motivation, right? I want meaning, right? I want to do things that I like, and of course, I want to serve the people, right? To make this world a better place. Yeah, this slogan that I actually cherish, right? You have only that number of years. I'm 58, so I guess if I can live another 10 years, right? It's the last 10 years that I can give to humanity. I want to give it the best that I could with my life. Okay, some personal stuff why I do it, right? I'm divorced 7 years ago. It's a very bad for me, right? It actually affects me quite a lot. Because also my mom passed away too. So it's like 2-in-1 tragedy. Right, so I began a lot of soul searching, right? Asked myself, should I carry on working, pay my bills and die? Or should I do something different and make my life more interesting? So I chose the latter. I actually quit from my job 9 years ago, right, without income, right, without a stable income, to do things that I like. So after 8 years, I say I'm not doing too bad, right? I can still afford a room, right? I rent a room, I can still eat and come and talk to you. I thought it was not too bad. It's decent, right? And I think the important thing is I like what I do. Right? I like to give, and that I think is my motivation. So also, my daughter is 25. In fact, I just came back from Sydney, right, this morning, visiting my daughter. She's 25. She's graduated. I want to leave a legacy for her. Like if I die tomorrow or the next year, right, it's something that she can tell my grandkids that you have a grand uncle, granddaddy who always goes and do this. I think you should be proud of your granddaddy. So I think I want to leave a legacy for her, right? Yeah, let's go a bit in depth into how serious is the refugee crisis. I think right? The whole Middle East is in a crisis, right? From Lebanon to Turkey to right Iraq to Jordan, right? Everywhere is wet, right? The Syrians are all over the place. You have 3 million in Turkey. Actually, it's 3 million, not 1/million. Because these are registered. There are more than 2 million. They are not registered. So technically, you have 3 million. And there's about 1/million in Lebanon, which I'm based. Right. Also, in Jordan, you probably have about 1/million as well. And some in Egypt, North Africa, and Iraq. So these are the places that if you want to do humanitarian work, these are places that you can go. Well, I'm more based in Lebanon. I actually did my stuff first in Jordan, but it's so difficult to enter a camp in Jordan because you have to apply a visa from the UN, and it takes months to get entry, right, from the UN to visit a camp. So I came down to Lebanon, and it's free entry. You don't need a visa. You don't need a permit. You just walk into a camp. But of course, I would say between Lebanon and Jordan, Lebanon is definitely more dangerous, right? People carry guns around. You can hear gunshots, machine gun firing in the distance, and you can hear explosions sometimes. So these are the stuff you have to grapple with if you want to make a trip with me, right, in November. So I wouldn't say it's entirely dangerous, but it's certainly not safe, right? People still get killed by car bombing. So if you can take a van with someone that has a bomb with her. Yeah, if she unlash it, yeah, you're dead. So it still happened, but not recently, probably a couple of years ago. But it's tense in Lebanon because it's very close to Syria, and it's just next door to Israel. So every day you can hear news about something happening in the part of the world, especially between Lebanon and Israel, right? Technically, they're at war because the Hezbollah is also in Lebanon. Yeah, these are some of the facts, right? I'm more based in Becca, right, on the right side, about 300 over 1,000 refugees there. Right, I did my work there. Right, we work with Syrian refugees, children. We like to work with schools children, because I think we see the potential in them. Right, because you have one whole generation of Syrian kids wiped out, right, in this crisis. But we are so limited. So we say, hey, Gilbert, how can you fund a school? It costs like 400,000 US a year of budget for a school of about 500 kids. So what we do is we go on a special mission, like we fund like textbooks. It costs 10,000. So I said I think we can do it. Below 10,000, we can take a look. But we are not looking at 50, 100,000. I don't think we can help them. So we do Christmas stuff, right? We went last year, we do Christmas party with 200 kids. And they have a fun, right? It don't cost a lot. It costs about 3,000 US. But hey, you're looking at benefiting a huge school of 1,000 to 2,000 kids, right? For a day of fun, I think it's worth it. Right? For the whole day, they have fun. They forget about the misery of war. Right? They could look on the bright side. I think most importantly, they could feel that there's love in the world. That people, someone Asian from Singapore is there to help them. I think that warms their heart. So I think we go on that basis rather than, I don't have 100,000, I can't do much. I guess the basis is you can do something with some money, right? But of course, you have more money, you can do a lot more. But I don't believe if you don't have money, you can't do anything. I started off with 10,000, my first trip. But it has progressed to 40,000. So I guess it's a long haul, but I don't believe if you don't have a lot of money, you can't do much. You can do something. Yeah, the sad part about Syrian refugees are the children, right? Sometimes I look at them, yeah, I cry in my heart because you know they don't have a future, even though they have a good education, which they don't have, right? There's no future, right? The government in Lebanon will not allow them to work, right, in Lebanon or even in Jordan. So it's a hopeless situation. Right, 60% of Syrian kids, aged 15 and below, don't actually have a formal education. So you're looking at 40%, right, which is less than 400,000 of Syrian refugee kids in Lebanon that has a decent education. And some of the classrooms are miserable. Like we ever went to a classroom during winter where you don't have a heater in the classroom. So they actually have to sit close together, right, to keep warm. So these are the situations that you find in the camp, right? Yeah, also a lot of kids between 5 to 12, right? I think about 20% or less actually have to work, right? They are forced to work, so there's no choice. If you have 6 kids, yeah, 1 or 2 of them will actually end up working, right, in laying bricks, right, or clearing rubbish or selling tissue paper. Right. So these are the situation in the camp. Yeah, also during winter, like last winter was quite severe. I think about 12 kids and at the age of 10 and below actually passed away because of the cold. Right. So every year you see kids, elderly people passing away, right? If you don't have decent clothing, and a lot of the time is they have a heater, but they don't have oil. They don't have the money to buy the oil to heat up the room. So it's I think a miserable situation where you have the heater, but there's no oil. So it's cold, and in January, the place is sub-zero, means you have -10. It goes up to -20. Right, so in January, it's particularly bad, right, in the north part of Lebanon. Okay, these are the problems I felt they face, like they feel hopeless. A lot of the refugees don't feel they have hope, right? I think this is the 9th year of the Syrian crisis. So they can't work. So every day they wake up, they smoke, or they just waste their time, right? There's no work for them. So they also have a lack of medical treatment. I think the place that I go to in Becca, right, has a high incidence of breast cancer among Syrian women. Some speculate that because Israel have dropped bombs before along the Becca area, so there's this, uranium deposit over there. But every 3 or 4 families we went, yeah, we could spot a Syrian woman having cancer. It was quite alarming, I thought. Every 3 families we went, at least one woman will have breast cancer, and they are young, and they will die because there's no money. The Lebanese government, the hospital won't treat you unless you have money. And you're talking about 30, 40,000, right, US dollars. No future, yeah. I think this is the main problem I felt when I visit them. They don't feel there's a future for them. There's no hope, right? It's quite bleak, the talk, quite depressive. Yeah, and they're hated by the Lebanese host, right? So a lot of them, when they go to a shop, they'll be ignored or shunned, by the Lebanese people. And some will even spit at them. And they can't retaliate, these Syrians, because they have to be there, for safety's sake. So I guess the problem will get worse. Right. In fact, it's already quite bad. The trip that I went, when I came back, they were instructed by the Lebanese side to torn down concrete walls of the camp that's above 1.5 meter. So let's say you have a camp wall that's above 2 meters, right? They actually ask you to demolish up down to 1.5 meters. Right, it's actually to prevent them from settling down permanently. Right, it's a tactic to move them, to make them feel uncomfortable. that you're not welcome here, please don't stay in my country, we are already very, very taxed, right? Please go back. I think that's the message they're trying to send to the refugees in Lebanon. Oh, yeah, this one, yeah, as an NGO, we face barriers like language. I don't speak much Arabic. They don't speak much English. So you feel, oh my God. Sometimes we end up in a quarrel. I can take a taxi, you say it's $3, but sometimes you're mistaken. So when you drop off, they say it's $5. So are you going to argue with them? So more often than not, I can't beat them. I pay them. I say, just take the money. Right. So to me, my biggest barrier is language. I don't have an interpreter, right? Because it costs money. Culture, yeah, culture is also my biggest issue. Like most of them are Muslim. So when you see a Muslim woman, right, you're actually not supposed to talk to them too nicely. Right? It's not allowed. Right, so I have to learn not to talk to women in the part of the world and stick to the men. It's safer. If not, you might get into some trouble. Right, this my experience. Oh. Also, terrain, yeah, the terrain, because it's dry, well, the place is very dry. During winter, it's moist, right? During winter, it's cold and there's a lot of moisture. So as a Singaporean, we are not used to it. No? In fact, I fall sick 3/4 of the trip, right, during last winter 8 last year. So terrain is desert. There's some desert sand too. You could breathe in some of the sand inside you. So I don't know. I feel it's a challenge for me, or maybe I'm getting old, right? So I fall sick 3/4 of the journey last year. So to me, terrain is an issue. And if you go in May and June, it's hot. It can go up to 40 degrees, right? It's pretty warm. Politics, yeah, this is also very a big challenge, right? Because there's so many issues going around in the part of the world that it's best not to talk to them about politics, because it can get you killed, actually. Right, so I don't entertain politics. Because some of the camps we visit have Palestinians, and Palestinians are, quite fierce about what they stand for. So I told them, I'm not going to talk about politics, so I'm sorry, but I'll help you, right? I'll provide you the help, the support, but no politics. I think we also, in Singapore, seen as very pro-Israel, right? So it makes my job harder, because they know if I'm from Singapore, you're very, very pro-American and pro-Israel, and that don't help us, actually. Right. My first 2 trips, I couldn't actually gain their trust. First, I'm Asian. Second, I'm a Christian. Third, I'm from Singapore. Well, how hard can it get? No? First 2 trips, no one talks to me. Or they just talk superficially. I could not gain their trust. But this is my 7th trip. I'm honored, or I'm proud to say I'm welcome as a brother. And they will even ask me to stay with them, right, if I don't have a place. So I think we have come a long way. I'm proud to represent Singapore in this humanitarian effort. Right. Thank you. Also, religion, yeah, a very hot topic. Lebanon has 18 religions, but mainly made up of Christians and Muslim. Right. So I'm a Christian, and the refugees are mostly Muslim. So it's not easy, I tell you. Because the first thing they ask you is not your name or your country. They ask you is, what is your faith? The first thing a Muslim refugee will ask me, what is your religion? So I just say, I'm a Christian. But like I say, over 7 trips, right, we managed to gain their trust. So we now could break the barrier of religion. Because I think in Lebanon, there's a 15-year civic war, right, from 1975 to 1990. It's a war fought between Christians and Muslim. So religion is big, right? Don't talk religion. If you do, you get yourself killed. And they don't trust you also. They will think that you're trying to convert them. In fact, when I went, I say I'm a Christian. They have half of my thinking, no, I'm an evangelist. I want to convert them to be a Christian. But I don't do that, right? So the last one, yeah, donation, yeah, money. I don't like to talk about money, but it's a big issue, right? Yeah, without money, you can't really do much, right? A lot of things like tanks, food, oil, heater, blankets, clothing are money. So a lot of the things that we do are constrained by money, right? Sad to say. And Singapore, we are quite rich. So I always to Mr. Balahari that, we can do something in the Middle East. I mean, that's the technicality of religion and politics, but I guess we can do something in the Middle East, right? As a humanitarian platform, right? Not religion or politics. So this my barrier we face, right? Someone asked me, do you go with a group or do you go alone? I don't know whether it's good news or bad news. Out of the 7 trips I went, 6 trips I went alone. Because nobody there to follow me. Someone will say, oh, Gilbert, I want to go with you, but my wife said I can't go, my daughters can't go, or I don't dare to go. But the last trip, the humanitarian trip, where a girl came along, right? A Chinese French girl from Singapore came. She did her meditation stuff, right? So she imparted meditation skills to the refugees. Yeah, I appreciate her. She's a gutsy lady. She's only 27. Right. That trip was a bit risky because we heard machine gun firing away about 200 meters from us. 2 machine gun firing. And along the way from our house, we could hear a gunshot very, very close to us. We don't know what happened because we don't want to fire. So we just left. But she's gutsy, right? This French Chinese lady who came along. Okay. Yeah, I'll go through quickly, right? Our local NGOs, partners, and programs. Yeah, we work with a German Syrian NGO called Jasmine Haifa, right? This is NGO that's actually based in Berlin, right, in Germany. And the good part about them is they have Lebanese and Syrian people, right, based in Lebanon. So whenever I goes down, I will just call up this guy called Mr. Abdullah, and we do things together. Like this is during Ramadan 2 years ago, we actually have a small little contract tie up to provide X number of meals, right, to the refugees. So this is one of our close partner, right. We also give oil, heaters, and also clothes, right, to the refugees that we visited. So we are more. This group is more based in the Bekaa, right, after the North Lebanon area. Yeah, this is a meal that we provided for 3 refugees. It costs $6. Right, it looks decent, right? Quite yummy. Actually, ate it and I love it. It's actually like roasted chicken, right, with very yummy rice. So each time we go to Lebanon, we prepare this iftar meals for them. Of course, we provide like 200 meals, so it costs about 1,000 to US, right, something like this. Yeah, this part of our iftar programs, like $6 for 3 refugees. And not bad. We collected close to, for this particular occasion, about 20,000, right, Sing dollars. So we could feed about 600 refugees for a decent day or meal. But I think what broke my heart is sometimes they will tell me, oh, you're the only one. No. I hope it's not a lie, or to make me feel good. No. They'll say, oh, you're the only NGOs that came, to give them a good meal, right, for the whole month of Ramadan. Oh, that really broke my heart, right? It shows maybe a lot of NGOs are tired. They have fatigue, because it's 9 years, right? So when I heard this, yeah, I cried in my heart, not in front of them. But I think the most beautiful part is when we enter the camp, I think some of them recognize me. They don't know my name, but they know where I'm from. They say, Singapore, Singapore, Singapore. Wow, I tell you, I feel damn proud, man. As my vehicle of meals is in the truck, as I pass by the camp, a group of them were shouting, Singapore, Singapore, Singapore. Yeah, that makes my day, really. That gave me the motivation, the impetus to go back and back again. Right. I mean, it's not that I'm just doing work alone. I'm also representing my country. That didn't strike me, really. I thought I'm just one small fly, a small NGO helping some refugees in the Middle East. But hey, right now they don't look at me as an individual. They actually look at you as a country, They say you represent the country, and I feel proud to to be representing Singapore. Right. Thanks. Yeah, this in the camp, right? So they were receiving meals, right? So this man with the scarf, right? He's actually blind, He's blind. So when he came, yeah, we gave him a solid packet of meal, right, for his family. So we are happy on that day he can actually have a decent meal and he could eat well, right, for that particular day. Yeah, these are some of the kids that receive our meals, right, in a camp in Becca. Yeah, a truck carrying our meals, right, in the back end of Becca. You can see them all milling around the truck, right. It's a wonderful sight, right. Something that I always will not forget. Oh, yeah, another boy receiving meals for his family. Yeah, some of the photos. We actually breakfast with them. I'm a Christian, so you ask me, I thought this is only for Muslim, but I don't think so, right? I actually eat with them, but when they pray, I don't join them. But when they breakfast, I eat with them. I thought that helps them to acknowledge the fact that I'm with them, right? I'm a Christian, but I'm with you. I eat with you. I treat you as one of myself. Also, they bother to include me into their fasting, their after meals. So we actually breakfast outside a camp, right, on the ground. It was beautiful out there, right? Everyone was eating, and there's no status. Right? Every one of us is equal when we sat down and ate together. That was beautiful, I thought. Yeah, we also distribute food pack, to camps. But I don't like to do this because it's very expensive. Like one box is about 60 or 50 US. So if you have $1,000, you can only distribute like what, 20 boxes. So each time we distribute, we need like 5,000 US. Because the camp itself is like you have 200, 300 families. So you can't distribute to this side and this side don't have, right? They'll fight or they kill me. So when we do this, we make sure we have enough money. Everyone gets a box. Right? You don't complain, you don't fight. Right? Because the fights occur sometimes when certain, I don't know why, certain families don't have a box. Right? Maybe they are missed out or not enough. So I ensure before I distribute that everyone has a box. Right? Else it's difficult and it's dangerous also. Because there are occasions whereby I don't know why some family don't have meals and there's a big quarrel, right? They don't punch or kill, but it's quite verbal. Yeah, it's very heavy shouting and scolding. I don't like that because it make me feel endangered, that I'm at risk. No? I don't want to feel that. So I always ensure that everyone has enough. We try to get 10% more so that those who don't have, right, we have the extra 10% to give out. Right, because I think it's safety also. Right. And also we are very careful because some, I don't know why, some guys, maybe they are troublemakers, they will throw rocks at us. Right. So if that happens, we also will not want to distribute because it's not safe, right? A rock hit you, you get blinded. So we always ensure there's safety, that there's no danger, right? And so we don't want them to carry weapons when they come out to take their stuff from us, right? There are certain regulations that we want to impose. We try to, so it's not easy, right? To say, hey, you don't carry your knife or your gun. No. But there was once, I think he's mentally ill. This guy pressed a knife against my throat, right? I really don't know why. I think he's not sound. He pressed a knife against my throat in one incident. I could not resist him. Because if I do, I get slashed. But somehow he withdrew the knife, right? And he went on his way. I think these are the things you have to to be aware of if you do such work, because anything can happen anywhere, anytime, right? So you have to be prepared. But good thing I was quite calm, right? I did not resist or like fight with him. I think I might get injured or killed too. Yeah, we have a beautiful logo, right? Thank you, Singapore, in support of Syrian and Palestinian refugees. That one is done by me, right? But I thought it boosted, the occasion of where we have something to thank the donors, more of the donors, right, than the country itself. So these are the boxes which we give out. Right, another photos, right? Some photos of the distribution. Yeah, we went last year. Yeah, we give out blankets and heaters, right, to this refugees camp, right, in Becca. Yeah, the lady on the right in black is the one that followed me, right? She's French, Chinese, but a Singaporean, right? So I'm glad for her company, because all the time I'm alone. I went alone, no one comes. Right, if you want to follow me in November, please let me know. Right, but buy me some insurance. Yeah, these are the winter period where you can see the mud, and the soil, right? It's pretty unsightly. And it's also snow in the north and west part of Lebanon, right? And it could get quite bad, right? Where you can't walk and cars can't actually go up. Actually, wanted to visit during one of the trip last year, but I could not go up because the road was closed. There was too much snow. So these are the things that you have to be aware of if you do trips over there. Yeah, also another photo. Yeah, some photos of the heaters that we gave away. Right. Yeah, okay. This is a school, right? Now school. We like to work with schools because we find they are the future, right? The children are the future of the country. But the problem with schools is it's very expensive. Like in this particular program, we actually funded about 50 orphans in this school. It's a Syrian school based in Tripoli, Lebanon. So you're looking at about 12,000 US. So we gave away 13,000 US for this program for 50 orphans that has access to 1 year of education. How many orphans are there in this school? About 300. So we could only help 10%. So you ask me, does money matters? It does. It does matters, right? Because to me, I can fund 30, 50. I'm very happy. But if I have more money, I can fund more. The problem about this is if you don't have the money, they might drop out of school. Right? They might not have a chance to study. And that's a shame, I thought. Right? Yeah, so these are the thank you note done by the school children, right? So I'm pleased I sent to the donors, and they're very happy. Yeah, thank you, Singapore, again. Right, some of the kids thanking us. Yeah, another thank you. You can see they are young, 8 or below, and they have a decent chance at education. I thought I don't want to disown them of that, right? But again, it's money, right? For this school alone, I think each year they are looking at $500,000 US, right, for the budget. You're looking at a few thousand, 2,000 kids, about 300 teachers. And the sad part about this school is some teachers sometimes don't have a salary because there's no money. So for a period, they work like free, until money comes in and they could receive the salary. And the salary is like 500-600 US per teacher. Right, so it's sad, right? Things are not looking good. Yeah, we also did, this is the principle of that school, right? We also did a Ramadan get-together for the families, right? For the children, right? I think about 300-400, right? People turn up. This, we fund them. I think it's up to, if I'm not wrong, 2,000 US. We fund them for this program. Yeah, these are some of the photos, right, of the Ramadan after just here. Yeah. Okay, that's the well, MAPS, right? Another school, Syrian school. But MAPS is special, right? Because we have a video for you, right? Can play the video, bro. Right, it's a 3-minute video, but it's very touching, right? Some of you might shed tears.
صباح الخير يا حلوين.
صباح النور.
اليوم بدنا نرسم سوريا، بس بدنا نرسم سوريا كيف نتمنى نحن نشوفها يا ترى بالمستقبل، ونشوف كيف بتكون سوريا معمرة ومزدهرة من جديد. شو رأيكم؟ جاهزين؟
جاهزين.
يلا.
بحب الرسم كتير والألوان والفراشة، وكتير بحب سوريا، بحب أرجع على سوريا من جديد.
في مجال الرسم صراحة نحن غايتنا حتى نقدر نخلي هذا الطفل ينسى الماضي الكئيب والحزين اللي تركه خلفه بسوريا، وينظر بتفاؤل بتطلع أكثر إيجابية في المستقبل.
We have a special relationship with MAPS, right, called multi-age programs. I think the kids, right, if you see, are, gorgeous, right. So every time when I look at them, I know, they are still there every year when I see them. But someone will ask, hey, how come this particular kid not there? Some, they drop out. Maybe for girls, they married someone. Right? I think if you know that part of the world, you can marry 4 wives. So some of them, by the age of 10 or 12, they are married off to alleviate the hardship of the family. And some boys will drop off to work, right? So it's not a very encouraging sight, right? For this school, my heart is broken because whenever I go back, the school string, last time I went back in June, they string from 3,000 to less than 2,000. Means they don't have the money, right, to bring in the kids. And the teachers also, their size string. Right, so these are the hard facts of life over there. Right, but I like maps because they did their best. They told me they are not closing down. They work for no salary. So I say, well, this group need. I mean, I want to help them. Right, they are doing their best, right, to keep the school afloat, but it's proving to be difficult. And I don't know. I wish them the best, but I sincerely don't think they can make it because they're looking at 700,000 US a year. Because the problem is they have 7 satellite schools, and the schools are all next to the camp, right? So that the children don't have to travel. But the problem about that is they have too many schools, right? You actually have a lot of overhead. So I think they're closing down certain schools to have less overhead. But I sincerely doubt because some of the teachers don't have salary for 5-6 months. Right, the last time that I went over. Yeah, part of maps, right? It's a very special school because it is a container type, right? They actually build schools out of container, right? Wonderful, right? So you have classes that's held in a zinc metal container, and I thought it was amazing, right? Each class can have about 25 students. Right, a school in maps, right, with a boy last year. Yeah, this is another of our photos with Chloe, right? She came with me last year. Yeah, a school inside maps, right, a container type. Yeah, also I think we celebrate Ramadan, right, this year for a school again for them in Aqsa. Right, Aqsa is actually previously held by ISIS, but after that they have been liberated by the Lebanese army. Remember when I visited them, I was detained by the Lebanese army for 2 hours because they kept asking me, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I'm just from Singapore. I want to help." I said, "But why? What makes you come?" And they're not very good at English, and my Arabic sucks. So in the end, they bring me out of the van. I actually have to sit in the army checkpoint post for 2 hours. It was a terrifying 2 hours because their weapons, right? And midway, they brought in a terrorist in handcuff, and all of the army guys are in submachine, right, weapons. So it was terrifying. But after 2 hours, the school could actually get me out. But when I went to see the kids, right, I mean, I saw their faces, they were happy, right? I think that is worth it. The 2 hours in the army checkpoint, right? It was worth it because I could see the joy, right, in the kids' faces because we were funding them for their programs that day. Right? And they actually waited me for 2 hours while I was detained in the army checkpoint. But that was the first time, out of the 7 trips I went, that I was detained by the army. And I tell you, it's no fun because you know what's going to happen. But I was encouraged by the fact that they offered me ice cream and food. So I think I'm not so bad. They didn't handcuff me, so that helps. But I don't want to go through it again. Anyway, Aqsa is certainly not a place to go because it's formerly ISIS control, right? But now it's been liberated. So certain places, I think it's better that I don't go. But I don't know, they need help because nobody goes. No NGOs goes to Aqsa because no one dares to go. So if I don't go, I don't know, right? I don't know. It's just me talking to myself. So this some kids celebrating our iftar meals, right, in the school itself. Yeah, we also help Palestinian kindergarten at Shatila camp, right? Another very difficult group, right? Because they are there for like 6 decades, 7 decades. So we have a good rapport with them, right? Every year we go, we will do something with them, be it a Christmas camp, after celebration, or we buy clothes, stationery for the kids. So we have a very good rapport with this camp. Right, these are some of the classes in action. Right. Yeah, this is the food, the pack that we provided for the camp. Right. If you know, Shatila camp is about less than 1 kilometers, right, circumference, and it has about 20 over 1,000 refugees. So conditions are very bad there. And sometimes, because the wires are all over, right, some kids actually touch on the wrong wire and actually they get killed, right, instantly by the wire, especially during winter. So when I go there, I'm pretty careful. Don't touch the wall, don't touch the wire, don't touch anything. Right. So these are the stuff that's in the box, right, that we give out. It costs about 50 US per box, right. So we try to give 50, 40 boxes, right, which cost about 3,000 US. Yeah, this is some pictures of me giving away the food aids, right, to the Palestinians. Yeah, just a very brief rundown. Is one of the worst camp I've been. Right, is stinky, and it's always wet and damp. There's no sunlight that penetrate through the camp, right? Because I guess it's the refugee camp, right? And they tend to stack buildings on top of each other. Like it used to be 2-story, now it goes up to 3rd, 4th, and 5th story. So they're actually building higher, but there's no space outwards, so they are topping it up, right? Yeah, some of the camp. Yeah, photos. Yeah, this I try to run through fast, quickly. Like, do you know in Palestine, in the camp, right? If you're a refugee, you can be a doctor degree. You can have a legal degree, but you can't practice. There's certain vocation that are not available, right, to Palestinian refugees. So they face a future also like the Syrians are, where you can study very hard, you can have a very good degree, first class, but you can't use it because the jobs are not allowed for you, right? So I think they run, lately I heard they have this problem of seeking medical care. I think you know about the US is stopping funds, right, to the Palestinians. So a lot of medical cases are not being taken care of. So these are some of the problems I face with them. I want to be fair, right, to help both. Because someone told me, why don't you focus on Syrian, Gilbert? You don't have money, You're doing so many things. But I thought it's fair that I help both sides, Palestinians and Syrians. But both have very different characteristics. I think you'll know, right? Palestinians are fierce, right? Quite fierce. And they don't mince their words. Syrians is a little bit more calm, more cool, and they are more negotiating. But Palestinians are really the top one. But I would say Palestinians are outright. They are very outspoken. They are very verbal. They tell you what they want, right? But Syrians tend to, they hide a bit. They want this, but they won't tell you, So it's like Chinese. So I guess both have their problems, right? And to deal with both, you cannot use the same skill, right? You can't, right? You have to use different sets to handle Syrians, a different set to handle Palestinians. But that's my personal viewpoint, right? Okay, we also have a third or last NGO, right, from Syria, Syrian Eyes. Of course, they are based in Lebanon. So normally after iftar, we have a celebration like our Hari Raya, right? So we have a few days of fun with the kids and the refugees. So we partner with Syrian Eyes. Of course, we fund them. Each time we went out with them, we fund them up to 1,000 US, right? To have a day of fun with the kids. So these are some of the stuff we did, right, with Syrian Eyes. Yeah, a kid smiling away after receiving a goodie bag, right? Some kids having fun. Yeah, how do I survive? Right. Yeah, I actually live in a Palestinian home. It's empty, right? So the whole house is mine. So it's a 4-bedroom, right? Of course, I pay rent. So it's on top of a mountain. So I live there. Whenever I go there, I will have my contacts. I have someone to pick me, and he'll send me to the apartment. Right. Yeah, this is the apartment. Right. That's me in the kitchen, and that's the area. Right. The house area. Yeah. So this is part of the beautiful part about Lebanon. Right. They have a beautiful sunset right over the sea. Yeah, they also have constant blackout. So sometimes we are having dinner in the middle of it, watching TV, there's a blackout. My God, that's the worst thing that can happen. Especially in the shower, you have a blackout. My God, at night, no hot water, and it's dark. Right, so this is something that I don't like. But I think the last trip I kind of only experienced once, only one blackout. But most trips is like 10 times. Sometimes you can have 3 blackouts in one day. My God, this I don't like because we like Singapore. No blackout, never. But over there, you have the experience blackout. Yeah, I'm a bad cook. That's me. So most of my meals are Maggi noodles. Very chum. Egg with spaghetti. These are the skills that I lack. So if you are humanitarian, you want to go for trips. If you can cook, it helps you a lot, right? Oh, yeah. What you can do, right? I mean, after hearing this, there's about 40 of you, right? You can give emotional support, right? I have a card over there. There's an email, right? I actually feel lonely. I feel stressed out, right? Sometimes I do have bad days. Right? If someone can email me or even talk to me or just say hello, Gilbert, how are you? I heard you're still there. I think that will help me. That will show me that I'm not alone, right? So that will help. Seriously. Financial support, yeah, of course. Then practical support, like, I don't know. I think they send stuff, right? They send things over. I try not to bring things over, but some actually do very nice handicraft for the kids. So I bring it over and give it to the kids over there. So if you can do handicraft, yeah, it's good. You can sew something, it means a lot to them. Right? And prayer support, yeah, I need a lot of prayer. Right? Because it's not a safe place. And sometimes we have a bad day. Where like we get detained by the army, yeah, we need the support of prayer. So partnership support. I think some of you are from NGO, right? I know Linda is from NGO, so you might want to, I don't know, do some partnership with us. I don't know how it can happen, right? But it's certainly achievable. Like you heard of the NGO Free Food for All? Yeah, we do actually want to tie up with them to provide some free food for refugees in Lebanon. Not now, maybe in the future. I think they are doing it in Gaza, right, for the Palestinians in Gaza, Palestine. So we cherish every partnership support that you can want to do something together. We are open, right? Well, I'll go through briefly, right? Yeah, you might want to follow me, but you have to think of the consequences, right? You need to be high risk, right? I mean, you don't like go to the machine gun, right? But you need to have a high risk profile. You must be physically fit because there's a lot of traveling. Sometimes one day I can travel 8 hours, right? So you're looking at a very small minivan. I don't have a chauffeur car. So you must be able to be physically fit to take the journey, right? Because it's not easy. Because I'm traveling in a very small packed minivan. Right? In fact, I fainted once or twice, right, the last trip. Because maybe I was too old or fatigued or I'm like too tired or too hungry. Because there are times that we don't take a meal because the trip just move, without you thinking, oh, it's lunch or it's dinner. Because things just happen and you don't eat sometimes for the whole day. So it's good if you must be fit, right? If you have heart problem, high blood cholesterol, then you think twice about going, right? So you must be emotionally stable, right? Calm under pressure. Like the guy put the knife up to my throat, right, I have to be calm. I can't react emotionally. Or when I'm, interrogated by the army, I can't, be very nervous, or I can't have a breakdown. That won't help me, right? So team player, yeah, of course. Involved with charity work before, maybe in Singapore or abroad, right? I know some of you have get yourself involved, right? In Bangladesh or in Indonesia or Malaysia with some work. Yeah, preferably single, without family. I think the part about me is I am divorced. I only have a daughter. So if I die, there's not much liabilities. In fact, each trip that I went, I always have the mindset that, something might happen to me, that I won't make it alive. I think that makes it easier for me. If not, I'm like, oh, I'm worried, about this and that. I don't want to go here and go there. So my personal conviction, each trip, I told my daughter that Daddy might not come back. Right? I'm not threatening her, but I'm preparing her. It's something dangerous, so you have to be prepared. Right? Things might happen, but I don't think it's so bad. After 7 trips, I'm still alive. Right? Can I speak some Arabic? That will help, right? Because if not, you're in trouble. Like me, right? Especially if you're detained by the army. Understand Arabic culture, I'm sure, right? You need to, right? Especially the religion, politics part. Buy more insurance, yeah. That's a joke, but it's good to have some. Yeah, we are making another trip, right, in October to December, right, this coming year. So if you are keen in any way, want to support us, that's my email. My name card is also at the front, right? So basically what we're going to do is we will get them heaters. We want to buy oil for them, right? We also want to get some clothes, right? Probably for the children and the elderly refugees, right? Any target amount we don't have, right? We don't have a target amount, but we go with whatever amount we have. If I have 10,000, work with 10,000. If I have 30,000, I work with 30,000. This is my basis. Yeah, this icon, someone that I respect. I think I draw a lot of my conviction from her, right? Being unwanted, unloved, uncared for, forgotten by everybody. I think there's a much greater hunger. Oops, it's gone over there. Then the person who has nothing to eat. I think over there, sometimes when you give them food, heater or oil, I mean, they appreciate it, but do you know they feel your love more? It's not the things, right? Sometimes you give them very cheap thing, but they actually appreciate it because it shows someone cares and love for them. Right? It's not the item, actually. I got it wrong. I thought, wow, I must have a lot of money, I must buy them very quality stuff. Then they appreciate. Actually, it's not true. Some of the items you give them, like to the boy over Ramadan, it's like less than 50 cents. But it's jumping up and down as though it's worth $50. So I realized sometimes it's the care, the love we show to them, right? That matters a lot more than the price of the item, right? Yeah, that's all I have, I think. Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks for bearing with me. Right. Really, thank you. It's I think Q&A time, right? We have half an hour, so sit here, right? Then you ask me question. Someone, yeah. What's your name and where you from?
Hello.
Thanks.
Actually, is it working? Yeah, okay, great. Hello.
Yeah,
First of all, okay, basically I'm Rania and I'm actually from Lebanon.
Oh my God!
Everyone.
Oh,
So I
did I
have
say
some
something
comments.
bad? Did I say something bad or wrong?
No, it's something
I'm
good, no?
so sorry.
So basically, first of all, I would like to thank you. I mean, this is beautiful. First of all, the idea of you going all the way there, and generally, I mean, I'm sure, which is understandable, a lot of people in Singapore wouldn't know about what's happening and wouldn't know about, I mean, there's conflicts all over the world. And I really think you're doing a beautiful work. And as you mentioned, I mean, you focused, for example, on education. Education is a big issue for children refugees, for Syrian children refugees. But I had to comment, to be honest, I felt that you painted a bit of a dark image about Lebanon. And I understand because sometimes, as you mentioned, when you go on trips, you're going in specific areas, and there is always barriers in our minds. I just wanted to say that actually, generally, Lebanese people are friendly, but there is a complicated situation. You're talking about a country that has 5 million as a 5 million as population, and you're talking about around 1.1 million refugee, and even more maybe. There's a big economic pressure in Lebanon. There is governmental inefficiency. There is a lot of problems. So it's not as simple as not being hospitable to Syrian refugees or mean. Or you mentioned incidents where actually it's more complicated, and there is political issues between Syria and Lebanon going way back. Yeah. So I'm sure you are already aware of that. This is a side note that I wanted everyone to hear because, it's a bit of a misconceptions, and I really believe in general barriers are in our mind and we can always break them. But I really admire your efforts, and I wanted also to ask you, have you heard about Alphabet for Alternative Education? Because it's an NGO that also works in the Bekaa area. Okay. And what they do is alternative education for children refugees. They do them in school tents, part of the camps, and they cover around 10 camps in the Bekaa area, covering the education of around 2,000 children, refugees. So the idea is to prepare them before they are 13 in the hope of enrolling them in schools in Lebanon. So this is also an NGO that is doing a great job on ground. And actually, I'll be there in December, so I'll be happy to come with you to the refugee camps and help.
Well, not bad. At least this event has a positive point. Yeah, I always appreciate the Lebanese for harboring few 100,000 Palestinians and 1.5 million Syrian refugees. I think that's very admirable and very encouraging. Yeah, it shows the world that Lebanese cares. Because there's the politics, also the infrastructure, the size and the problems, right? Yeah, we appreciate that. I'll still in December must get a contact. Right, yeah. How about anyone else with a burning question? No? Maybe we can ask my volunteer, Aravin. He's actually the one that did all the graphics for me. When I'm in Lebanon, he would do the graphics for the funding, and the appeal for funds.
Not much, not much.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe just want to ask you, you did your work for that 7 years, I think all the while alone, a single person. So if you think we go in as a team with, let's say, 4 or 5 people, volunteers, would you think you can do a much better job than what you're doing alone?
Yeah, certainly. I think when you have a team, certainly you can do more, right? Like you can share the load, work things out, like you can go here today, you can go there tomorrow. But I've told you, there are actually a lot of people who, like after a talk, every year we will do a talk, actually, who will say, oh, Gilbert, I want to come with you, But it's always at the last minute, they pull out. It's like, oh, my wife said I can't go, I can't take leave. My husband said it's too risky. So it's always the same problem, the same issue. But I'm glad out of the 7 trips, 1 trip someone joined me. Right. Yeah, it's like, wow, my God. If you really want to come, right, I'm going. And there's a host here. So you're quite safe. There's a local host here. Right. So you can come 1 to 2 weeks. Right. Because I'm there normally up to like 1.5 months to 2 months. So if you want, you can join us for a short trip. Not the whole duration. But certainly, we actually want people to join us to see for yourself what you can do. I think it also opens your mind up. Because I think we could be a bit close up as Singaporeans. We are only bothered with Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. But I think the whole world cries out for attention, right? Especially that part of the world. Any question? Maybe from Linda. Linda is a NGO, right? Home, HOME. I think she have done some work also, right, with the Rohingya refugees. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Linda. First of all, I want to say thank you to Mr. Gilbert for giving me the opportunities to come today. I actually admire your work. Been a while now. Finally, we got to meet. What you're doing has really interested me. While you're actually talking, I was actually thinking about doing some collaboration with my own people. As you know, I'm also from the Mrs. Singapore Malay International platform, where we actually do charity work in Indonesia. We have done some in Batam, Tanjung Pinang, Karimun. So yeah, when I come back, when I go back later, I might bring up this topic to my committees. Maybe we can actually, get together and do something about it. Yeah.
That's good.
Great work, Mr. Albert.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Well, I think we need all the support we can get. Right? Us, it's always like, one-man show, But yeah, we want, if you can't go, you can raise funds. Like when we are in Lebanon doing the work, there are 5 teams in Singapore raising funds for me. So it's not just me, right? I can't do it alone. So there are 5 groups of people that actually help us to raise funds. So for this particular Ramadan period, yeah, we are very blessed to get a very high amount of donation. It's not a lot, but it can do something, 40K. Right? Most of the time is 30 or 20, right? So it's good, yeah. Right, must thank you, right, for coming. Maybe one last question before we go. Yeah, the gentleman.
I can just speak to the mic. Hi, Gilbert. Thank you for sharing. And I'm Andre from Hong Kong. I'm also MPP student in Lee Kuan Yew School. So sorry I'm late.
No problem.
The bus takes some time. So my question is actually how, based on your very on the ground experience, field experience in the border and in the refugee camps, what is your take for developed cities like Hong Kong to take more part? And in terms of distance, in terms of young people, it sounds very far for young people in Hong Kong. And I happened to get a chance to interact with a group of Palestinian young people last year. They were sponsored by the Commission of Youth in Palestine, and it took them it's a wow experience for them when they visit Hong Kong, seeing all these developments, tech startups and everything. But then to me, my feeling is just more than that few days experience interactions. My thinking is when we have been studying policies and international relations and developments, and what is really the take for the next generation to take, besides simply donations, besides simply going there to take on the few days of volunteer work, what can we do more? And what is the fundamental cause that you think in the long run can really pave a deeper road to change the whole scenarios?
Well, that one difficult question. Yeah, I always want to do something with the institute, right? I don't know. If there's a chance, we want to bring NUS undergrads over as for practicum purpose, right? Maybe for 1 month or 3 weeks. But I think we have to tie up with the institute. Right? So I don't know, because there's a risk there, right? Parents will jump. What? Going to Lebanon? No. So I think all these issues that we will have to iron out, right? With the institute, with the students, right? With the parents. I think it's more the parents. I mean, if there's a 2-month practicum in Lebanon in a refugee camp, why not? I think it's a beautiful, wonderful, life-changing experience. But again, the terrain, right, the risk, right, the parents, I don't know. I'm not positive, but we will raise it up with the institute. We can iron out like a 2-month course, or you can do a practicum. I think there's 1 or 2, if I'm not wrong, but probably not from NUS. There's 1 or 2 students from Qatar, but they are Singaporeans. Actually, I met her in Beirut. She's doing an internship, right, over that part of the world. Right, she's learning Arabic and others. So I guess, yeah, we can do something. Raise this with Mr. Balahari, right, can iron out. I think it's important. I think we are very cautious about Middle East because of terrorism, There's always the link to terrorism. If I go Middle East, do some work, will I come back and get arrested? So a lot, especially the Malay community, right, their fear is when they come back, they get arrested by ISA. You don't think it's my fear? I have that fear too, that I can't clear custom and I get arrested by ISA. I do. But I took the risk. I'm very public about what I do. I publicize my work, so no one can say, "Oh, you're a terrorist." No, you join the ISIS, you fight for the ISIS. So I guess because maybe I'm a Chinese and Christian, it helps. If I'm a Malay and Muslim, I think it's not going to help me. Right? I dare to say it because it's a big issue for Singapore. If you're a Muslim, sorry, Muslim, Malay, you have this fear, you can't come back. Because there's a lot of Muslims who went there, they get arrested at the border, they can't enter Singapore. But it's a real fact because of ISA. So this is one thing you have to be aware of. If you're a Muslim, Malay, I think you have to think doubly hard. I know a lot of Muslim, Malay want to follow, but this is a big hurdle for them. But for me, I'm a Chinese Christian. I'm quite public about what I do. So I don't have that fear. But you think it don't clip my mind? It does. Sometimes I'm afraid I can't clear custom. I get arrested at the border. So these are my fears. I mean, since you asked. But I think it's always good for Hong Kong or even Singaporean youth to be, to do things in the Middle East, because the world is now very connected. Things happen there affect here, I think last week talk, Mr. Balari should have pointed that out. Right? What happens in the Middle East affects Singapore, affect Malaysia or even China. Right? It does. And to let you know, there's a lot of Chinese now in Middle East, in Lebanon, in Turkey. Right? I think they're doing business, obviously. Right? So I fully support if there's a chance to do your internship in the Middle East with an NGO or with me. I fully support you. Right? I give you all the support. Oh. Okay, one more question. NUS, what's your name?
Mr. Goh, thank you very much for sharing. And I actually also study with Andre, and I also come from Hong Kong, and I study in the graduate school at Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy. So I would like to ask similar question, but more specific on publicity and advocacy works of as an NGO. For example, because back in Hong Kong, when I do my undergraduate in Hong Kong, I have participated in different kinds of model United Nations, and also some ICRC, Red Cross, their simulations. They have, in Hong Kong, they had a workshop, and they even had a center that is simulation of refugees to educate the teens and youth in Hong Kong about the refugee issues. But this is still few and far between in metropolis like Singapore or in Hong Kong, this kind of world-class, very developed, very advanced cities. Still people feel, even for youngsters, I'm not sure for the Singapore teens, but in Hong Kong's youth, still they feel quite distant. For example, given Hong Kong situation, they might care more about the local issues more than the international aspects. So it makes sense. But then I would like to know, as an NGO, how do you think, because like very often the publicity and advocacy issues would be the most difficult part for you to engage with the outsiders, because you want more people to join you, then you have to like have a resonance, you have to like engage people, truly make them have a kind of like to feel your impact. So apart from like having this kind of like workshop or these some seminars, like because for teens they might think that these are more distant for them to join. So what kind of like apart from, I think like refugee simulation is quite a good one. I attended that one and it really gives you an impact. But normally these kind of workshops or seminars are more lasting for 1 or 2 days or even like 1 or 2 months impact. After 1 or 2 months, you might think about other things in life. So as an NGO like founder, what do you think you would need or you would consider or you would want to do in the future to influence or impact or educate more teens or more people? In what ways do you think like there is an innovation mind there that you want to hold different kinds of activities so as to get the impact, get people aware of this like the seriousness of the issues?
Okay, well, to Hong Kong students asking the best question. If we are all the Singaporean students, they're not here. Yeah, I know. I think we try our best to publicize our work, which is so difficult because we don't have access to the mass media yet. Newspaper or Channel News Asia have not come to talk to us yet. I thought the press will give us a lot more weightage and more, of course, publicity. But we do a yearly talk. Like we do it in substation. Do you know? Yeah, like we just did an exhibition last year as well on the Palestinian children art. We actually have a book done by Australian. Actually, we have a connection in Australia, in Sydney, in Melbourne, where we also exhibit Syrian art. It's more open over there. So I would say this is a limited exposure, right? We would really like to draw out a program and get people like you or you to come, right? I think if you travel with us, I think that'll be more impactful than a talk. It's like 10% of the full impact if you come with us. Because the fact that you can see a camp, in the borders, in the Middle East, on the dark, wintry night, yeah, it blows your mind. Than me talking to you and showing you photograph. I think the key thing is to probably to be able to iron out with the institute, right, to bring groups of people over. I think there's a dialogue also on business in Middle East. Right? There's zero Singaporean business, almost zero in the Middle East. Right? There's no impact of a businessman in doing business in the Middle East. I don't know why. Right? Maybe they don't know how. They're scared. They can't take out the money when they invest. Right? But do you know there's a huge potential in Lebanon, right? In Turkey or even in Israel. I think these are spots that not many Singaporean businessmen dare to go. But I think it's a huge potential. If you ask me why, I don't know. Right? The question asked is how to do advocacy, right? How to publicize it. I think through talks like this, right? Through workshops, through arts, right? We are always collecting children art from the camp, right? So each time I go, I bring back like 50 or 100 art pieces, and someone will frame it and do an exhibition, right? And we have, like I say, some connection in Australia, so we also will exhibit the art over there, which is I think more they're more welcoming, right, of all this kind of work with refugees. I would dare to say we are not there yet, right? We are not zero lah. I mean, I'm there, but I think if you say on the scale of 10, we are like 2 upon 10. Our presence is very minimal. I've seen huge Lebanese NGO. I've seen huge Japanese NGO operating in Lebanon for 60 years. Right? Chinese, not yet. French, of course, Swiss, Italian, very big, right? British aid, UK aid. Yeah, all these are big boys, feed the children. Yeah. So these are big boys, but we have nothing. We are almost zero, Singapore. I think it's a shame. So I think we can do something. We are rich. We have the money. Right? We have the resources, but we're not doing anything in the Middle East. I don't know why. Right? I can't answer you. Probably it's a political question. Anyone can answer that. Why we are not in Middle East? Right. Oh, I'm being frank now, right? I tell you, this is the sad part about Singapore. We are very poor in humanitarian work, right? Very, very ashamingly poor, right? And I'm just doing a little part of it. I'm sure we can do much more with the blessings of the authorities here. Oh, we are done. Anyone from NUS here? No one. We are good to go. Anyone last question before we go? About that part?
Hello. Okay, so I'm Herman. I'm from the Institute. So I think mine's not really a question, but I guess I'm wondering, like, how can you frame your program such that it's not just sort of like a voluntourism kind of thing? So let me just explain that a little bit more. So like the idea that, if you'd like people to join the program, the pitfall that I'm worried about is people are going there not because they generally want to help, but because they're actually there to make themselves feel better, which is a lot of what voluntourism is, which is just going there to make yourself, oh, I'm helping these people, I'm looking at a camp, I feel sad, I take a photograph, and then I leave, So I guess this is in line with your bigger question of how do you make this a little bit more sustainable. And I guess it's a bit difficult because if you don't have support from big actors like the state, I think it's quite challenging as well. Yeah, so it's not really a question, I guess it's just thoughts about that whole...
I think it's valid, yeah. We are not there yet because I'm just making like 30 days or 40 days trip. But the plan, right, I let the cat out of the bag. The plan is that we're based there, means we'll be there for 9 months to 10 months, and we come back for 2 months. Because now it's the reverse. We are there for 2 months, come back 10 months here. Right. So the plan is to be based in Istanbul, Turkey, because it's a more livable place. Sorry, from Lebanon. Right. Yeah, it's safe. Yeah, it's livable. Yeah, yes, sir. Mm. No, no. Just Singapore passport, right, is number one in the world, and it's really number one. No? Like you can enter Jordan, you can enter Israel, of course. You can enter Lebanon, Jordan without a visa, but you can buy on the spot. Like for Jordan, you pay I think 20 like US, you can get a 1 month visa. Lebanon has done away with visa, so you can just walk in. They give you a 1 month stay. 1 month means you can stay for 2 months, 1+1. Right? But be careful, if you go to Iraq, you need a proper visa from embassy. Because I wanted to visit Iraq. I don't have a visa, I was deported. Right? It's so strict. So there are things, some countries that need you to get a visa first. But some you can get it on the spot. And some you don't need visa, so there's no issue. But coming back to the plan, yeah, we will likely want to base in Turkey, Istanbul, right, for at least 8 to 10 months. Then it's easier to make trips to Lebanon. It's only 90 minutes, right, by plane now. And it's a more livable place, I think you know. Because there are always requests for aid, but I'm always here, so I can't help them. But if I'm based in Istanbul, it's easier to make trips. It's like I just fly over and come back. But this is the plan, because Istanbul is cheaper, better, safer, and very, it's nice. Right. I hope it's not tourism again. Right. But yeah, I think that's the plan for our NGO. Right. We are moving. Right. We have some good support. We felt. We want to grow it also. Right. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I have just one question. I want to just know, is the focus on supplying, how do you say, direct relief? Yeah, I mean like necessities, or is it on education, or is it on both for the future?
Actually,
Sorry.
it's also brought down by finances, right? Of course, we want to do a lot, but I think we want to focus on education. Yeah, like the orphans that we sponsor is not a lot. It's one orphan, 250 US a year. So I guess that is our focus. We want to support schools, but the problem about schools is it's a huge budget. Right, a small school you need about 300,000 US a year. Right, so this is a big amount, which I don't think I have that capability to get the donation. So I go on very specific kind of target, like I sponsor orphans because it's affordable, right? 50 orphans, I only give 12,000 US. I think I can do that. But if you ask me for 100,000, I can't. Yeah. So this is my issue, and I love to work with children, right? Schools. In fact, we wanted to start an orphanage, right? Because we know there are a lot of orphans, right? They are parked all over the shop with relatives, with people, with syndicates. But it's so difficult, right, to start an orphanage in Lebanon, right? To get a license is almost impossible, right? And it's sensitive because I'm a foreigner. They're scared that I do child trafficking. Oh my God! So there are so many barriers, right? So I start with schools, children, sponsorship. I thought I can do that, and I do programs like Christmas or Ramadan because that is like a project. I just do once and I take off. Because if you want to support schools, you need big money and you need to sustain it. That's the problem. I'm being very open now. I don't want to hide. What I can do, I do. What I can't do, I'm sorry. Right. But I think we are not very well represented, Singapore, in the Middle East, especially for humanitarian work. Right. It's a shame, really. Right. We can do something. We can do more because we have the resources. Right. This is my conclusion. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, we can exchange expertise on education because we have a sound platform here. But over there, yeah, there's private, right, and public schools. So yeah, we can do more, right? But I guess it's the politics, the risk, right? The focus. So all these are barriers, right, to humanitarian work in the Middle East. Unfortunately, but I'm not giving up, right? I'm pushing on, and I have to probably be based in Istanbul. So this could be the last time you see me here. You gotta look for me in Istanbul. Right. Oh, okay. Thank you. I want to hold you. Right. Thank you very much.